Good day, everyone. I just grabbed my coffee and I'm headed to my shed, where I'm going to show you some interesting improvements to the project used for your introduction to Python. Someone told me that the program is, ugly. Well, it was not meant to be an example of functional user interface. Quite basic, actually, and aimed at Python beginners. Believe me, there will be time for the fancy user interface, maybe in HTML5 and JavaScript. Let's have a look. First of all, I made some strategic changes that will turn out handy later. I moved the code that loads the data from the text file into a function, and I'm calling the function before the main loop. Now I'm changing the way the script is executed. It may look like unnecessary, but this actually changes the scope of the variables, a topic that will be discussed in some other video. Have you noticed? I'm not really writing the code. I'm using Visual Studio Code and an AI assistant. This assistant constantly scans my code, and most of the times it makes the right assumptions. It's almost the kind of magic. Okay. Let's execute the program and see if these first changes work before adventuring into more complex topics. Oops! Error! I'm trying to read a file that does not exist. There are two ways to avoid this kind of error. The first is to prevent them. I could check if the file exists, and if so, open it. But I prefer a more, let's call it, aggressive approach. This method is called exception handling, and it consists in simply trying to perform an action and capture any exceptions. Did you see? The AI writes most of the code for me. I should not be too surprised, though. The AI assistant is one of my closest friends. Even my voice is generated by the AI. See here how it works? It's almost plain English. If something bad happens in the block controlled by try is captured and the control passes to the except block. In this case, it simply prints a warning. Let's see if the program now works. Yeah, there it is, the ugly menu. And the rest of the program should work as expected. To add some handy functionalities to our program, we will use an external library called Rich. First thing, check if you have the library installed. And if so, upgrade to the latest version. Otherwise, skip the upgrade part of the command and simply install it. Then get back to your code and add the instructions to include 3 classes from the library. As usual, the AI assistant seems to know exactly what I'm going to do, including the creation of a console object. Don't worry about the terminology for now. Object-oriented programming is a complex topic, and all we need to know is how to use the objects. Let's start by fixing the main menu. First, every time the menu is displayed, we will clear the console. Then, we print a magenta title. For the menu entries, we keep the ones of the old program, but we put them in a list. Then, we must iterate through the list and print them one by one. This will make things easier if we decide, for example, to add new elements in the menu, or to manage the menu dynamically. Finally, we will collect the option, convert to integer, and return it. Note that we don't need to worry about the validity of the input because the library does this already for us, checking the choices. Let's try it. It works! Before we proceed, let's fix the prompt of the menu so it will accept 0 as the option to exit the main program. Now let's take care of the input of new items. First, we want to display a title in green. Then we will simply replace the input with the corresponding rich version. Note how we can indicate a default value for our prompt, and the library will take care of it. For the prompt for the category, we are using an alternative way to set the style. Then we will simply print all the categories with their index. Let's see if it works. Time to fix the display of the shopping list. If you recall from the previous video, the program just prints out the list. In this new version, we will implement a nice table view. Since we're here, let's also fix the value for the option to quit the program. Let's define a function named Display Shopping List, and look at how the AI assistant writes automatically all the code for me. I just have to change the color of the second item and make a correction in the indentation. Oh my, shame on me. This is Python, not Visual Basic. Let's get rid of the old code and replace it with a call to our newly defined function. And voila, now it should work. Isn't it nice? Now, I have a special question for you. What happens if I enter an invalid value for the category? Let's try with a letter. Oops, crashed. Let's take note of the line and try something else. For example, a number for an option that is not in the list. Oops, crashed again, but the line number is different. This means there are two exceptions we must capture to make the program more robust. If you are wondering why you should care, think of this. Your program saves the shopping list only if it terminates correctly with option 0. Imagine you entered 30 items and then the program crashes because you typed a wrong category index. Not nice, right? Okay, let's fix it. Lines 30 and 31 must be included in a try block. If something goes wrong inside the block, we display a message and simply return to the main menu. This time, we are not accepting the suggestion from the AI assistant to assign a default category. Okay, that's it for now. Want to try something nice? Make the items of the list to be displayed in different colors based on their category, or add the functions to delete one or more items, or change the quantity. Have fun with Python. And if you are in trouble, remember you can join a one-to-one or group session and grow your coding skills. Shed Coders. Code your future now.